Case 1. Paulette's story. The missing woman found on Google Maps. In November 2020, 83-year-old Paulette Landreau, who suffered from Alzheimer's, wandered away from her home in Andenne, Belgium. Her husband, Marcel, had left her watching TV while he hung laundry outside. Moments later, she walked past him unnoticed and disappeared. Despite extensive searches involving neighbors and a K9 unit, Paulette was nowhere to be found. Days turned into months and hope faded. Then, 2 years later, a neighbor made a shocking discovery while browsing Google Maps. The neighbor spotted Paulette in a Google Street View image, frozen in time as she walked along a quiet road near her neighborhood. The image, captured by a Google Street View car on the day she disappeared, became the first real lead in the case. Investigators retraced her steps and found her remains in a dry bush nearby. It appeared Paulette had tripped, fallen down a hill, and become trapped in the brambles, where she tragically passed away. Google Maps had solved a heartbreaking mystery, bringing closure to her family. Case 2. The Athol kidnapping. In 2009, 9-year-old Natalie Maltese was supposed to spend a weekend with her grandmother, Rose Maltese, in Athol, Massachusetts. But things took a dark turn when Rose called her daughter and the police, declaring they would never see her again. Police issued an arrest warrant for Rose and used GPS tracking from Natalie's cell phone to locate her. The signal led them to an intersection near Route 11 in Natural Bridge, Virginia, but the GPS data only provided a rough radius. Officer Todd Neal and Deputy Fire Chief Thomas Lozier turned to Google Maps Street View. They digitally walked the route and spotted a distinctive red-roofed motel, the Budget Inn. Virginia State Police were alerted, and within hours they found Natalie and Rose at the motel. Natalie was unharmed but shaken, while Rose was arrested for kidnapping. Google Maps had played a crucial role in rescuing a young girl from a desperate situation. Case 3. The Spanish murder. In 2023, a Cuban man went missing in the Spanish village of Tajueco. His family received strange text messages claiming he had left Spain, but police were suspicious. The case stalled until someone noticed something chilling on Google Street View. A Street View image showed a person loading a body-shaped bundle into a car near the village cemetery. Investigators traced the scene and discovered the victim's dismembered remains buried nearby. Further Street View images revealed another suspicious scene. Someone wheeling a similar bundle in a wheelbarrow. These images, combined with other evidence, led to the arrest of the victim's partner and her ex. While the Google images weren't enough to convict on their own, they provided critical corroboration, helping solve a gruesome murder. Case 4. Kidnapping by Jose Arevalo Vieira and his accomplice. In June 2017, a woman in Milwaukee was abducted at knife point by Jose Arevalo Vieira and his accomplice. The kidnappers forced her to drive around the city, using Google Maps to navigate. The victim, identified as MD, noticed Arevalo Vieira using the app and memorized their location. She eventually escaped and alerted police, who used a geofence warrant to track devices that accessed Google Maps in the area. This led them to Arevalo Vieira, whose location history tied him to the crime. He was arrested in Kentucky, hiding in the woods with a knife. Both he and his accomplice were convicted, with Arevalo Vieira receiving a sentence exceeding 100 years. Case 5. The murder of Paul Matheson. In January 2021, Paul Matheson was brutally attacked in Renfrew, Scotland, and later died from his injuries. With few witnesses and little evidence, the case seemed destined to go cold. Investigators turned to Google Maps and digital tracking after spotting a silver Mazda on CCTV. Using location data, they reconstructed the car's journey and linked it to its owner, Jamie Anderson. A search of Anderson's home revealed his favorite Nike trainers, which bore Paul's DNA. Anderson confessed to the murder and was sentenced for culpable homicide. Google Maps had helped piece together a tragic case. Case 6. Gioacchino Gamino, a mafia boss caught on Street View. Gioacchino Gamino, a Sicilian mafia boss, escaped prison in 2002 and evaded capture for 20 years. Living under the alias Manuel in Spain, he thought he was untraceable until Google Street View caught him. Authorities discovered a Street View image of Gamino standing outside a grocery store in Galapagos, Spain. The image, combined with a Facebook page for a nearby restaurant, confirmed his identity. Gamino was arrested in December 2021 and extradited to Italy, where he is serving a life sentence for murder and mafia crimes. Google Maps had brought down one of Italy's most wanted fugitives. Case 7. The murder of Nancy Cooper. In 2008, Nancy Cooper disappeared from her home in Cary, North Carolina. Her body was found days later in an unfinished subdivision, and her husband, Brad, became the prime suspect. Investigators found damning evidence on Brad's laptop, including Google Maps searches of the location where Nancy's body was found. The searches occurred just a day before her disappearance. Brad was convicted of murder, but later pleaded guilty to a lesser charge. He was sentenced to 12 to 15 years in prison. Case 8. The murder of Jessica Runyons and Kara Kopetsky. Jessica Runyons and Kara Kopetsky disappeared in Missouri years apart, and both cases were linked to Killer Yost. With no bodies found, the cases seemed unsolvable until investigators turned to Google Earth. Using satellite imagery, they identified a quarry in Belton, Missouri as a potential burial site. Search teams discovered skeletal remains belonging to both women. Yost was convicted of second-degree murder and voluntary manslaughter, receiving a combined sentence of 45 years. Case 9. Natalie Bollinger, a bizarre Craigslist. In 2017, 19-year-old Natalie Bollinger was found dead in Colorado with a gunshot wound to her head. The case took a strange turn when a Craigslist ad titled, "I want to put a hit on myself," was linked to her. Joseph Lopez confessed to killing Natalie, but claimed she had hired him. Investigators checked Lopez's Google Maps timeline, which placed him at the crime scene, contradicting his story. Lopez was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 48 years. Case 10. The Cameroonian Soldiers. In 2018, a video showed Cameroonian soldiers executing 2 women and their children. The government dismissed it as fake, but BBC Africa Eye investigated using Google Earth. They pinpointed the execution site to Zelavet, Cameroon, and analyzed shadows in the video to determine the time and date. The soldiers' uniforms and weapons matched those of the Cameroonian military. 7 soldiers were arrested and 4 were convicted. Google Earth had helped expose a horrific crime and bring justice.